Well, welcome and good morning, all. I'm super excited to see we have several guests online already. I know it's early, but we say early bird gets the worm, and our guys are slammed. So we got to get them on, get them out on the road so that they're there to serve you. So welcome to Inspector Chat today. We were welcoming back Shane Raburn. He is our inspector manager. Say hi, Shane.
Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Yeah. So Shane has been with us now almost 5 years. I think he joined our team in October. Am I right?
That's correct.
Of 2015. Yep. So almost 5 years, and he is our inspector manager. And more importantly, today we're going to actually talk about his background as a pest control owner, operator, family business, and he has given the FBI the ability to be able to offer you WDOs while we're doing your inspection. And so this kind of becomes an advantage to you. You're not waiting for another appointment. You're not sitting at the house for somebody else to come in and do the inspection for you. We can take care of that during the inspection. So let's get started. Shane is also a grandpa. And he's got a beautiful grandson that he's absolutely enjoying. So we wanted to just give him a shout out for Father's Day and say Happy Father's Day, Papa.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So we're going to get right into WDO information today. So do you offer WDOs when we do a home inspection if it's ordered? Or can they order a home? Sorry, it is early. Can they order a WDO when they do a home inspection?
Yes, of course. We do offer that service along with the other inspections that we do offer. And like you were, stating earlier, it is a big advantage for our realtors. It's a big time saver. They don't have to go through the hassle of scheduling another company to come out, which takes time to schedule it. You have to be at the mercy of their schedule. They might be able to get there when we're there. They might not. And if not, then you have to, come back to the home for another inspection. So it just really, I think is a big advantage for our customers that we can knock everything out, while we're there in one shot.
Right. And we actually brought that service on to be a added value so that we're helping our agents be more efficient with their time, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. And we already talked about that one. What are you looking for in a WDO inspection?
Well, the WDO is an acronym for wood destroying organisms. Most people call that it's a termite inspection, which it does, include that, but we also look for other things besides termites. Not only drywood termites, subterranean termites, but we also look for damage from wood decaying fungi and also wood boring beetles, namely old house borers and powder post beetles. So it is, a little bit more encompassing than just termites, but we're looking for damage from those, types of insects. We're looking for evidence, which could be frass, they call it, from drywood termites, which is actually their droppings. We look for wings, even dead, dead swarming termites. After they swarm, a lot of them die and they, lay on the windowsill or the floor. So we're just looking for several things, that would give us an indication that there may be, a past or present activity in the home, as far as any wood destroying organism.
Do you look for past treatment?
Absolutely. That's actually one of the questions on the WDO form is if there is any, evidence of prior treatment. Say we go into a home that has a lot of drywood termite damage and possibly frass, but then we find an indication that it was treated, 2 weeks before we were there, then we can give the, buyer some assurance that, hey, there is some evidence that there was some termite activity here, but it appears to be treated recently. It's most likely under warranty, so you can assume that warranty if you like. If it was treated for subterranean termites, the same applies, they can usually assume any warranty that may be in effect at the time.
So, so our boys are all up early this morning. So one of our inspectors says, have you ever seen live powder post or old house borers while in an inspection?
I have not ever seen a live powder post beetle or old house borer, actually, in the 30 years I've been doing in pest control, only because they are very reclusive, and it's just very, very difficult to get down to the area where they are. You almost have to dismantle the wood that they're in order to find it. But you can definitely see, the evidence, the holes in the frass. Powder post beetle frass is very, very fine, like powder. That's why they call them powder post beetles. So no, never seen any live one, but a lot of times I've seen their damage and evidence.
So, one of the ways that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the ways that you can have termites is to actually bring them in an untreated wood. Like you've got new cabinets, you built, I don't know, a wood table or something in your house, and they can come right in because the wood that's been brought into the house is infected, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Obviously termites eat wood. And that may be wood that's in your house, or it may be wood that was cut at the lumber yard and brought into your house.
Okay.
Back a few years ago when I was still in the pest control business, we went out to do a rodent inspection for a customer, and the house was only, I believe, 5 years old at the time. And our inspector was crawling through the attic and grabbed a truss, and it just crumbled in his hand because it was just full of termites. But
Wow.
it came like that from the lumber yard where they cut the trusses. So your house may be 50 years old, or it could be 5 days old. You just really never know. Any house is susceptible in Florida.
So what is your saying? I know you have a saying about that. It's not if you have.
Correct. It's not if you get termites, it's when.
Yeah.
There's
So
two types of houses in Florida: those that have termites and those that will have termites. It's just a matter.
Yeah. So anyway, it is something that you deal with down here. We have the beautiful sunshine, and 90% of the time it's gorgeous down here. This is just, part of being a homeowner, right?
That's correct. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
the price you pay for 70 degrees in January.
All right. So when is a WDO inspection required in a real estate transaction?
Well, it's required for any VA loans. If the customer is going that route with their financing, VA requires a WDO inspection and report for every transaction. FHA is kind of, wobbled back and forth over the years. They used to require it, then they didn't require it at all, and now it seems like it's about half. And same with conventional. It's just, it's kind of hit or miss. But definitely with VA, it is required on every purchase.
Correct. And so who pays for the WDO?
Well, on anything except the VA, the buyer pays for the WDO inspection. For a VA loan, the seller actually pays for the inspection, and they can either pay for it up front or get reimbursed at closing, whichever is easier for the customer. Got
you. And typically we're working on the buyer side more than the actual seller side. So we do collect from the buyer, and then if they need an invoice so that they can clear that up for or at the closing table, we can provide that for them so that they can add it in as a line item to be reimbursed, right?
That's correct. Yeah, the girls handle that in the office, and they do a great job.
Okay. Does the FBI group, do we offer treatment if you find live activity in an inspection?
We do not, actually. We're not equipped to do any kind of treatments for any WDOs that we find. And to me personally, I think that really validates our inspection reports more than some other companies. because I believe we have an unbiased opinion. It doesn't really, profit us, pun intended, for us to find, termites or other WDOs, because we're not going to do any of the treatment. So I'm not saying that other companies may find some activity when they are, able to sell a treatment, but maybe they do.
Well, and that is how they're compensated, right? So, I mean, they're compensated. A pest control company technician is compensated by services that they sell. So, we keep our lines clear. And I think that's one of the things that we do really well at the FBI group, is making sure that we don't blur our lines. We're always working to give you the best details about the home you're willing or looking to purchase. So how much is a WDO? The ultimate question everybody wants to know.
Yeah, right. It's actually $89 if you add it on with the inspection, which is important to remember. We do not offer standalone WDOs. It has to be in along with the home inspection that's ordered, the full home inspection. But $89 for an inspection and the report, the state mandated report that everyone uses. And unless it's VA, sometimes they ask for the national form, but 99% it's the state mandated form. So you get that along with your inspection report, and yep, that's it.
All right. And then, so Shane, what happens if you actually say that you saw live termites in a WDO inspection? What should be protocol for a buyer?
Well, we definitely, we'll inform them at the inspection site if they're present, and, point it out to them. It would be on the report if they did order the WDO form. Along with the home inspection. And then we would definitely recommend that they get some kind of treatment, whether for drywood termites or subterranean termites. That's something that they can, work out with the seller, but we definitely will let them know that we did find live activity and that it needs to be treated immediately before proceeding with the transaction, for sure.
Cool. And so talk to me, and I know these aren't in your list of questions, but talk to me a little bit about treatment for subterraneans. How do they treat for subterraneans?
Well, subterranean termites are called subterranean termites because they live in the ground and under the ground. They are subterranean. So they enter the home through the bottom of the house, around the foundation, cracks in the slab where there's utility penetrations, any wood to ground contact, anything like that. So the way the treatment is done is you usually do either a liquid barrier treatment around the exterior foundation, where there's any dirt that meets the foundation, you dig a trench and flood that trench with the product and then cover it back up. Anywhere there's concrete that meets the foundation, like say around, garage doors or patios, front porches and such. You obviously can't dig through concrete. So you have to drill a hole about every 12 inches and inject the product into that hole to get it down to the foundation, and then you plug it up. There's also alternative treatments now. They have the bait stations that they can place around in the ground, and they're just little plastic tubes that stick down in the ground, and the termites, as they're foraging for food, they encounter the bait traps, and then they eat it, share it with the colony, and they all die from the product that's in the bait traps.
So I know that's a newer product. What's your opinion of it? Is it effective?
Well, yes, yes and no. The bait stations, and this is strictly my personal opinion, are great as a preventive treatment.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'm not as keen on it as a remedial treatment because they take so long to work. It can take up to a year to eliminate a colony with the bait stations, whereas with the liquid treatment, it eliminates the colony in just a month or two. Gotcha. So you think about a year's time, if you have a pretty heavy infestation, they can still do a lot of damage in a year's time. So I think the baiting systems are a good supplement to a liquid treatment. That'd be the best of both worlds. And they're okay for, preventive, but as, if you do have an active colony, and maybe just because I'm, old school, I just still think the liquid treatment is a better option.
Well, you want to kill them and get rid of them as soon as possible because they do damage, right?
Great. Yeah.
Yep. And then dry wood, they come from the roof, right? From up, top
Correct.
down.
Yeah. Most,
how do you treat those?
as a rule of thumb, unless it's a crawl space, they can fly up underneath there and get in, but they fly in through cracks and crevices, usually in through the soffit areas, roof vents, that sort of thing. And then they land on the wood in the attic and, burrow in and start laying eggs. And that's when a colony develops. So, as a rule of thumb, drywood termites usually start at the roof and work downward. Subterranean termites start at the floor and work upward.
And so we tent for drywood termites, right?
That's correct. Yeah, you see the fumigations, a lot of drive around, Seminole Heights or Old St. Pete during the summer, and you'll see a tent about every, half a mile, it seems like, if not more. But the fumigation, is for the drywood termites. And again, there are some alternative treatments for that as well. There are some topical solutions that you can actually treat the wood with. Just, spray a liquid onto the wood and it kills the termites. But that's more of like a very centralized minimal infestation where you can, access the wood where they are. But fumigation is still the old tried and true, treatment, because that ensures that you kill all the termites no matter where they are.
Okay. And then my last question is, there is a swarm season. Can you explain the swarm season in the state of Florida?
Sure. Yeah. And again, there's always exceptions depending on the weather patterns, but as a general rule of thumb, subterranean termites generally swarm in the spring. And of course, in Florida, spring could start in April or it could start in January.
Gotcha.
And sometimes in the fall, but predominantly in the spring. And drywood termites usually will swarm in the summer. But again, I've seen drywood termite swarms in January, and I've seen subterranean termite swarms in September. So you just never know. The one thing you really should remember is it's always termite season in Florida.
Yeah. All right, Shane, is there anything else you'd like to tell the audience before we say?
And actually on that point about the swarming, just because you see a swarm doesn't mean that that's just when they showed up. They've been there a long time. If you see a swarm, that means that they've built up a colony large enough to start reproducing, and that takes quite some time. And on the flip side, just because you don't see a swarm does not mean that you don't have termites. They can be there and then just haven't developed to the point where they can start, producing the swarmers. So again, like I said, it's always termite season in Florida. We highly recommend the inspection. It's just you're taking a big chance if you don't get that checked out. Okay.
All right. So a couple of things that we just want to reiterate here is WDOs are required when you're doing a VA loan. We do not do treatment. So we are just looking to, as a courtesy, provide you the WDO ability when we do your inspection. Our inspection fee is $89 added to the actual inspection. We do not do standalone WDOs. And as Shane says, every month is swarm season in Florida. So make sure you are hiring a pest control. Once you become a homeowner, it's really your responsibility to hire a pest control company, because we have all kinds of bugs down here, especially those little beautiful palmetto bugs, and they come into your home uninvited, of course. And some of them can do damage, as termites do. So please make sure you've got a good pest control company. And if you need a WDO, make sure you order it when you order your inspection. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. There were several people online at 7 a.m. I'm giving you all kudos. And thanks, Shane, for being my guest. I really appreciate it. These little segments are really getting some synergy around them, and it's nice to be able to share what we do in the field for you. So until next week, have a great week. Thanks.